Dissemination of knowledge and information more precise and accessible and interesting. It's a very big challenge. There's an attitudinal challenge coming from the students. All the libraries all around don't find a visitor now. In our days, we used to book space in the library so that we could get a seat to study there. It's a generation we are dealing with where 90% of the students don't wish to read a newspaper. We need to perhaps take them on to digital newspapers. Everyone has a WhatsApp and this, let us push general knowledge things, one thing a day rather than writing it on the blackboard in a conventional manner. So technology infusion in the process of teaching, to my mind, is another challenge. The third is, in your schools perhaps it's not as problematic as in the schools of mass education, is ensuring attendance. I'm not saying attentiveness. That's a higher degree of proficiency that the teacher might have. Attendance. Again, there's a use of technology. You can use biometric devices and automatic softwares. Why should we waste 10 to 15 minutes in every class taking manual attendance? Let it take 2 minutes of punching and let the software go to the principal and a copy to the parent. Similarly, it's for the teachers. At the fag end of my career now, spanning almost 4 decades, even where we teach, we train the IAS officers and PCS officers and IPS officers in the Mahatma Gandhi State Institute of Public Administration. The moment I put CCTVs in the conference halls and the classrooms and monitor in my room, which I hardly switch on, I find there's a tremendous improvement in the quality of teaching and the quality of attendance and attentiveness. That means somewhere there is some deficiency in professional integrity, not only on the part of the trainees, but also on the part of the teachers. Now teachers have started, being on their legs and teaching. Otherwise they were sitting comfortably, half asleep, murmuring, and sitting in the chairs itself. So I would say professional integrity is another challenge. And I don't single out teachers for that. I have the utmost respect for teachers. My grandfather was a professor in the university college. Punjab University, after the partition, had its university headquarters college at Kaushal. So don't misunderstand me when I say that professional integrity is a challenge. It is certainly a challenge elsewhere also, but since we are talking of education, I'm talking of teachers. It's more visible when the question of internal assessment comes into picture. Now, do you think software-based quantifiable assessment is a cent% substitute of assessment that a teacher can make on the basis of an eye-to-eye contact with the student? So how do we evolve such softwares which take care of both the sides of the issue. Then the assessment issue. There are so many boards, there are so many testing authorities. They have their own standards. Even if there is one board dealing with billions of students, some examiner somewhere has a different yardstick, the other. So where is the equalization? My examiner may give me 80% marks, the same paper may go somewhere else and I may get 92% marks for the same paper. What do we do? How do we standardize the question papers? How do we standardize the desirable answers, and how do we standardize the process of marking and assessments? These are very big challenges. And then there's a challenge of leadership. Are we having a delegated, distributed and shared leadership? Or are we standalone leaders? Standalone leaders may be very successful. They hog a lot of limelight for themselves and for a short period for an institution. But standalone leaders do not build institutions in the long run. Because the foremost duty of a leader is to produce a very illustrious successor and not to scuttle like we do mostly. Scuttle the instincts of anyone who is likely to be your successor because of your own inbuilt sense of insecurity. Let us produce a second-rung leadership, a third-rung leadership. Similarly, let us produce future leaders amongst the student community. I know the challenge of social diversity. I know the challenge of caste, gender, language, and so many other challenges that are faced by the parents as well as the students. And all these challenges ultimately trickle down to the challenge of the management and the challenge of the teacher. So these are our education challenges. We can tackle these challenges by a composite, wholesome approach. And in the process, we must take whatever help the technology can offer us. Technology is a tool. Technology at times is abused by your marketing executives as a fashion. Good as long as it's used also. So let us have smart schools, let us have smart teachers, let us have smart managements, let us have smart classrooms, let us have smart curricula, let us have smart assessment methodologies, and let us have a product which can carve his or her own place in a highly competitive world and doing well. That is our satisfaction. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to do this.
Thank you so much, sir, for bringing out such important points and talking of them at here. I would also remember that, when you stated the government schools problems, we, as Indians, what we do is we host conferences with ELEDs, with Digital Learning, the World Education Summit in Dubai, and KHDA being our prominent partners. KHDA is the Knowledge and Human Development Authority, just like we have the MHRD ministry in India. So everything that is running in Dubai is basically run under KHDA. So they have very, very strict regulations for the schools. And Indian principals go down to Dubai to evaluate their systems. Can't we host such a public-private incorporation for our government schools as well, wherein our teachers, our private schools are